In the quiet suburbs of a small town, nestled amidst a sea of trees, stood a quaint house with a dark secret lurking within its walls. Inside lived a teenage girl named Emily, her parents, and their faithful dog, Max. Little did they know that on this particular night, their peaceful abode would become the stage for a nightmare beyond imagination. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Emily's parents prepared to attend a neighbor's party, leaving her alone in the house for the evening. Despite her protests, they assured her they wouldn't be gone long and reminded her to lock the doors and windows before they left. Alone in the dimly lit house, Emily tried to shake off her unease and distract herself with homework and music. But as the hours ticked by, a sense of foreboding crept over her, amplified by the eerie silence of the empty rooms. Suddenly, a knock at the door shattered the silence, causing Emily's heart to race with fear. Peering through the curtains, she saw a shadowy figure lurking on the porch, their features obscured by darkness. With trembling hands, Emily hesitated, unsure whether to answer the door or call for help. Before she could decide, the stranger began pounding on the door, their demands growing more urgent with each passing moment. Terrified, Emily retreated to the safety of her room, where she huddled with Max, the dog whimpering in fear at her side. But their sanctuary was short-lived, as the sound of shattering glass echoed through the house, followed by the heavy footsteps of the intruder. Panic surged through Emily's veins as she realized she was trapped, her only hope of escape cut off by the stranger's presence. With no time to spare, she frantically searched for a weapon, her hands closing around a heavy lamp as she prepared to defend herself at all costs. As the stranger drew closer, Emily's pulse quickened, her breath coming in short, ragged gasps. With a sudden burst of courage, she lunged forward, swinging the lamp with all her strength and striking the intruder with a resounding thud. For a moment, silence descended upon the house, broken only by the sound of Emily's pounding heart. Then, with a groan, the intruder collapsed to the floor, their face illuminated by the dim glow of the lamp. With trembling hands, Emily reached for the phone, her fingers dialing 911 as she struggled to make sense of the chaos unfolding around her. And as the police sirens wailed in the distance, she knew that she had faced the dark. As Emily stood over the intruder, adrenaline coursing through her veins, she realized that the danger was far from over. With trembling hands, she reached for her phone, only to find it missing from its usual spot on the bedside table. Panic surged anew as she realized the intruder must have taken it, cutting off her only lifeline to the outside world. With no means of calling for help, Emily knew she had to act quickly to protect herself and Max. Gathering her wits, Emily grabbed the lamp once more, her heart pounding in her chest as she crept cautiously toward the fallen intruder. With each step, she braced herself for any sign of movement, her senses on high alert for any threat. As she reached the intruder's side, Emily's breath caught in her throat as she saw the glint of a knife hidden in their grasp. With a surge of fear, she realized that the stranger was not just a petty thief, but someone far more dangerous. With Max by her side, Emily backed away slowly, her eyes never leaving the intruder's prone form. Every fiber of her being screamed for her to run, to flee the house and seek safety elsewhere. But she knew that leaving the intruder unattended posed too great a risk. Summoning every ounce of courage she possessed, Emily made a split-second decision. With a swift motion, she lunged forward, wresting the knife from the intruder's grasp and backing away before they could react. For a moment, the intruder lay motionless on the floor, their breathing shallow and ragged. Then, with a sudden jolt, they sprang to their feet, their eyes blazing with fury as they advanced on Emily with renewed determination. With nowhere left to run, Emily stood her ground, brandishing the knife in a trembling hand as she prepared to defend herself once more. The air crackled with tension as the intruder closed in, their shadow looming large over her trembling form. In that moment, Emily knew that she was facing the fight of her life, a battle against the darkness that threatened to consume her. With Max by her side and her courage as her shield, she stood firm, ready to confront whatever horrors awaited her in the shadows of the night. As the intruder closed in on Emily, their features contorted with rage, she steeled herself for the confrontation ahead. With the knife clutched tightly in her trembling hand, she took a defensive stance, her heart pounding in her chest as she prepared to face her assailant. With a sudden burst of speed, the intruder lunged forward, their movements swift and aggressive. Emily reacted instinctively, dodging to the side, and narrowly avoiding the blade as it sliced through the air with a menacing hiss. As the intruder stumbled past her, Emily seized the opportunity to strike, swinging the lamp with all her strength and connecting with a satisfying thud. The intruder staggered backward, dazed but not defeated, their fury undiminished by the blow. With a primal roar, the intruder charged once more, their movements fueled by desperation and rage. Emily's heart raced as she braced herself for the impact, her mind racing with thoughts of survival and escape. But just as it seemed that all hope was lost, a sudden crash echoed through the house, followed by the sound of shattering glass. Through the broken window burst Max, the faithful dog, springing into action with a fierce growl as he lunged at the intruder with teeth bared. Caught off guard by the unexpected assault, the intruder faltered, their grip on the knife loosening as they struggled to fend off the dog's relentless attack. Seizing the opportunity, Emily rushed forward, her movements fueled by adrenaline as she grappled with the intruder in a desperate bid to disarm them once and for all. With a final, desperate effort, Emily wrenched the knife from the intruder's grasp, sending it clattering to the floor with a metallic clang. The intruders stumbled backward, their eyes wide with shock and disbelief, as they realized that their reign of terror was finally at an end. As Emily stood triumphant over her fallen assailant, relief washed over her in a wave, her body trembling with exhaustion and adrenaline. With Max at her side, she made her way to the nearest phone, her fingers shaking as she dialed 911 and summoned help to her aid. And as the police sirens wailed in the distance, Emily knew that she had faced the darkness and emerged victorious, a survivor in the shadows of the night.